Jack's ramblings of the day. Today is April 10th, 2026. So I don't really have much to talk about today, so I'm going to ramble. Doomscrolling. Why do we do it? Social media algorithms have become so enticing, so intoxicating, that you will do it for hours. And why? What is the science behind it? What exactly are they doing? I think there's a huge aspect to not every post you see can be the one that keeps you going. Well, yeah. You scroll, one catches your eye. I like this. I'm going to watch it for straight up 30 seconds. Like, comment, I found it interesting. Scroll, this one sucks, right? Scroll, this one sucks, right? Why do those two suck? That's a purposeful event. They do that on purpose. They know that they have the data to see what you like and don't like. They could just throw you one dope, two dope, three dope. Constant dopeness. Why do they throw those in there? Because if they didn't throw those in there, you wouldn't continue scrolling. You'd reach a point where you're like, I'm satisfied. The fact that you keep going through ones that you don't like, it's like gambling. And there's a huge addiction cycle. There's 4 of them. I forget exactly what they are. Fixed interval, something interval, fixed ratio, and something ratio. I just don't remember what that something was. Gambling is a good example of that. I don't remember which one it is. It's like spontaneous interval or something like that. Essentially, why is gambling addictive? Similar reason to why doom scrolling is addictive. You are waiting for that next hit, and you don't know when it's going to come, so you keep going, you keep pushing that button until you get that hit. You keep pulling that lever in anticipation that this is the one, and it isn't. Remember, the house always wins. And even within our social media algorithms, there is a house there, albeit you can't see it. Meta, they're in trial right now. Is Mark Zuck at court? He was taken to court because his platforms are addictive. And I'll be the first to admit that I fell victim to that very easily. They're addictive. You scroll. What is going on in the world today? It's just such a crazy world. With that being said, I need to stop. The first step to getting better is recognizing you have a problem. I certainly have a problem. I scroll. I happen to be on social media quite a bit because I post content, which I think is a good thing. I think everybody should post content to a degree, at least in an intelligent way, because we're reaching an age where if you don't have stuff online, people don't know who you are, and a narrative can be created regarding you. And you won't be able to defend yourself because there's no evidence present. And more than likely, more powerful people than you are going to be attacking you, saying, if you are attacked, not saying you are going to be, you could just remain, a sheep to the system, which I think many people are, and I think many people are comfortable with that, and that's perfectly fine, I guess. I have other intentions. I want to expose a lot of this corruptness. To me, it's at least exploitation. I won't even go as far as corruptness. Are exploitation and corruptness synonymous? I think so. But you could make the argument that they're not. Regardless, if you don't have a social media presence, there's no evidence to provide who you are. So then therefore they can say, this is you, right? Especially with the addition of AI. Come take my face, put it on someone else's body, and like the Bibi Netanyahu videos, you know what I mean? Um, 6 fingers. Now it's already gotten a ton better. They're working out the kinks so that there will come a day where we just can't recognize the fact that everything is AI. Every piece of media you're gonna consume is AI. I'm so skeptical of this Artemis 2 moon flyby because, for one, the timing. We're now at war. Trump says he's gonna defund them, and then they go and do this. I'm skeptical of space travel. Well, I believe we can travel in space. I believe we could definitely produce different mechanisms to do so. Why do we rely on propelling those objects up with fuel in that manner? I find it to be very wasteful. I think I've considered like magnetism and such to at least get the craft out of our orbit, which would bypass the majority of the fuel cost. Granted, I'm no astrophysicist. I'm not even a physicist, really. I've taken a lot of physics in my life, but, there would be huge amounts of research needed for that. There'd be huge amounts of funding needed for that. There'd be a huge amount of infrastructure that we'd have to create to do that. It's just bizarre to me. I think at this point in time, the system's rigged. Like I said, the house always wins. The system's rigged. It's not in the favor of the people. It's not in the favor of exploration. It's not in the favor of creation. It's not in the favor of anything but exploitation. And that seems pretty evident. Every piece of media you consume is owned by somebody. Now, I believe the media should be owned by the creator, right? Well, these creators, and they're not the creators. Large corporations purchase creators to then produce media based on a certain narrative. That's pretty evident at this point. Every major news source it's an entertainment platform more than it is I'm going to feed you information platform. An unbiased platform. They can't give you unbiased news because their fan base is going to be a biased group that wants a specific narrative. And in order for them to retain viewership, they have to feed that narrative. That's why you see drastically different news broadcasts, because they're biased on their subject. And I watch multiple different news sources. I try to get my news from every which way, and it is absolutely exhausting. It's exhausting because how do you discern the truth from every single viewpoint? When I have to go to work every single day and spend most of my time doing things I don't want to do. And granted, I'm not saying like that's just a reality of this world. You got to do things you don't want to do, even if the system was different. But at least I'd be doing it for myself instead of a system that is rigged, that's going to trying to keep me compliant and whatnot. It's sickening. It's absolutely sickening. It makes me sick to my stomach. And it makes me very tired. And I'm just absolutely exhausted like the majority of the time. So, may God bless. Praise be to Yahweh. Much love. And adios.